KXII 12 News at 6:30 on the Triad CW starts now.
Tonight, Triad police are investigating after 2 bodies were found at a home. What police say may be the cause of this case in High Point. Plus, an emotional Saturday in Randolph County. As a historic church faces major changes ahead, the congregation's faith staying strong. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Louis Tran. Tonight we begin in High Point, where police are investigating a murder-suicide. High Point detectives say that yesterday they received a call about an assault on Spring Garden Circle. When they got there, police found 2 people dead at a home. Police say they're investigating this as a domestic murder-suicide, and at this time they're not sharing details on their identities. Meanwhile, in Winston-Salem, 3 people are in jail tonight after a shooting that injured a 12-year-old boy. This happened Thursday at Cleveland Avenue Homes. Police say that 3 suspects walked into a basketball court and started shooting. Police say the suspects are John Williams, Sir Winston Johnson, and James Goodine. They're all in their 20s, and police arrested them yesterday. Now the child is expected to recover. And at the same time, Winston-Salem police are looking for answers after another juvenile was shot multiple times. Police say that yesterday the victim was dropped off at a hospital. They were last listed in critical condition. And right now, it's not clear where the shooting took place and what led to the shooting. And at this time, no arrests have been made. And over in Durham, an entire community is mourning tonight after a 5-year-old was killed. Yesterday, more than 100 people gathered to honor the victim. Police say that on Wednesday, a man shot Chloe Fennell. Right when this happened, police say that her 15-year-old cousin was babysitting her, jumped in front of her to shield her.
It's not something we have to just say has to stop. It's something we have to activate as a community to ensure it stops.
We talk about babies and even have to stand a chance.
The 15-year-old is recovering at a hospital from 7 gunshot wounds. Police say that Brian Lester was arrested and has been charged with murder. And tonight, North Carolina authorities are looking for a missing 15-year-old. Take a look at your screen right here. An Amber Alert was issued for Jocelyn Jacobs. Authorities believe that she's with Maria Gunn. Gunn has brown hair and brown eyes and occasionally wears glasses. Deputies believe that they're traveling toward Alabama in a white Ford Explorer with the license tag that's on your screen. If you know where they are, you are asked to call 911 right away. A suspect is in jail tonight after a routine traffic stop saved an abducted teenager. It happened Tuesday in western North Carolina. Deputies with the Nash County Sheriff's Office pulled over a vehicle with the Florida license plate for a simple traffic violation. Now, this happened on northbound Interstate 95. When this happened, deputies saw a 16-year-old inside the car who was reported missing from Florida. The driver, Alejandro Vasquez, faces a number of charges. And back here in the Triad earlier today in Greensboro, a crash closed down Spring Garden Street. Now, there were down power lines, and it's not clear if there are any injuries. Right now, the scene is now clear. Let's now focus on the weather. Across the Triad, we had a beautiful and hot summer day, but enjoy it while you can because we are expecting some changes. Meteorologist Michelle Kennedy joins us. So Michelle, I do understand that today some areas saw some flash flooding threats.
That's right. We had some heavy downpours earlier in the day. You're looking at a 6-hour loop here. Our temperatures were much steamier before those showers and storms rolled in, but you notice Greensboro dropping from the upper 80s into the 70s as those storms were rolling through. Unfortunately, for eastern Guilford and western Alamance counties, you had heavy downpours creating some flash flooding concerns there along the Muddy Creek area. We also had reports from areas along the Deep River regions and Buffalo Creek. So also some folks saying just their flooded backyards were just a mess out there as those storms came through. They were slow moving, but heavy downpours really filling in for the eastern Triad. Right now, though, you've got a couple spotty showers up in areas like Mount Airy, southern Surrey County, too. You've got showers spotting up around northern Wilkes County, 89 degrees there. It's been hot and steamy, not much relief if you've had more sunshine out to the west. But to the east, we've had anywhere from 1.5 inches all the way up to 3 inches in spots right around eastern Guilford, western Alamance County. You can see here just south of Burlington, almost getting close to that 2 3/4 inch mark. You can also see the southern folks here down to the south getting anywhere from 1/10 of an inch with the lighter showers as those storms roll through to all the way up to 2.5 inches. Tomorrow, our severe thunderstorm risk develops through the midday hours. We'll talk more about the timing and also what you can expect with those severe storms that's coming up.
All right, thanks, Michelle. Let's now focus on health news. Cone Health doctors say that in some areas of Greensboro, people live 15 years less on average compared to those who live in a nearby zip code. Now, to close that gap, doctors held an event to address the issue. The event is the first of a series of events. It was held today at the Hayes Taylor Memorial YMCA. The series will focus on health screenings, mental health access, medication resources, employment, and nutrition.
Taking, for instance, Moses Cone Hospital on North Elm Street, if they're in the middle and you go 5 miles south of Moses Cone Hospital, the life expectancy is 70 years of age. And then if you drive on that same street 5 miles north, the life expectancy is 85 years of age. Big difference, 15 years. So that's part of what we're trying to do, is give back those years based on resource and access.
Organizers say that some of the later events will be more specific to the communities they want to address. Now, doctors are also warning about the rise in kidney stones. Now, this is not just seen in older men anymore. Doctors say that they're seeing a 10% rise every year in younger children. Now, kidney stones are hot deposits of minerals and salt. They can be extremely painful and dangerous when caught in the urinary tract.
Stones are associated with tremendous impacts on health. Higher risk of fracture, higher risk of high blood pressure, higher risk of loss of kidney function. Now we're seeing disease occurring earlier in life, and then that gender gap has disappeared.
Doctors do not know for certain what's causing the increase, but they believe a combination of factors could be causing this. That includes kids eating more ultra-processed foods, too many antibiotics given to kids, and even climate change causing more dehydration. And according to another new study, almost half of the tap water in the nation is contaminated with forever chemicals. Scientists sampled water from the U.S. Geological Survey. Now, the results showed that at least one forever chemical is in 45% of U.S. drinking water samples. There are more than 12,000 types of such chemicals.
And it's alarming because it took too long for us to study this chemical. It got into the marketplace decades ago. This isn't something that just showed up and happened yesterday. The companies have known, they have warned, and there's been a lot of agency failures in a quick response to corral this chemical before it became widespread throughout our water system.
The number of people drinking contaminated water may be even higher than what the study has found. That's because researchers were not able to test for all of the PFAS chemicals. Exposure is linked to cancer, thyroid disease, and hormone suppression, among any other issues. Meanwhile, North Carolina authorities are looking for a man who allegedly broke into power substations. It caused $40,000 in damages. Dave Verity has the latest.
Police shared this video of the suspect with bolt cutters trying to steal the copper wiring used to ground equipment here. Brooks Kirby is the electrical services director in Morganton. He says power could have been knocked out and the suspect killed. All over a few $100 of stolen copper.
It's very, very dangerous to do so. It can cause an outage, besides themselves getting killed, cause power losses to hospitals and homes, factories, restaurants.
Police say hours after the first break-in, the thief, who has a mohawk haircut, broke into a Duke substation nearby. This afternoon, we saw a Duke Energy crew making repairs there.
Thieves are a lot like electricity. They will follow the path of least resistance. And in this case here, he found a point who did force entry, really gambling with his own life and his own safety.
Officers say they've identified the suspect as Terry Pittman and have warrants for his arrest. He'll face felony charges of cutting property to obtain copper wiring. Janet Cook lives nearby and hopes he's caught soon. She told me her sister relies on oxygen and needs her power to stay on.
I don't know why people are doing that. Why it's just mean or just evil doing something like that.
And that was Dave Verity reporting. The punishment for vandalizing and attacking power stations will become more severe. A new North Carolina law will take effect later this year.